Hoop 7 proudly brings to you Basketball Hustle.
Ellis fumbled the ball. 2 on the shot clock. Throws up a prayer. Yes! As he was falling to the ground, it's a 3. He shot it literally from the hip.
Definitely a highlight.
Here come the Billikens. 4 on 2. McCall. Ellis. Left corner.
We're missing out.
Bang! From way down under. Cody Ellis. Reddick brings low out away from the basket. Stolen away by Cody Ellis. One man to beat. To the hole. He's fouled. Layup. Good. Whistle foul. Count the basket.
Ellis for the reverse. Through fingertips. What a move. Ellis drops in a bomb. I love seeing Cody Ellis coming out feeling good.
Ellis. Cody Ellis. Ellis. Pull up jumper. Cody Ellis. Bang. Cody Ellis. Can he stand and deliver? Cody Ellis.
Now it's time for another episode of Hoops Heaven's Basketball Hustle.
All right, delighted to be joined by Kevin White on Hoop 7's Basketball Hustle for the first of our bonus episodes, Cody, for this season. And our timing couldn't be better. He plays his 300th game, as we talked about on the show this week, back in Adelaide on Saturday night for the Illawarra Hawks. Kev, thanks very much for joining us.
No worries. Thanks for having me on. Listened to last couple episodes last year, and yeah, it's nice to see you guys doing your thing.
How does that make you feel, Cody, knowing that we've got a listener the calibre of Kevin White?
Oh, it's good, mate. Mr. 300. No, it's awesome. Appreciate that, man. Appreciate you listening in. Yeah, hopefully we can have you on a few times this year and get your insights, even though you've, instead of walking away, you've gone and gone back to the hometown and joined with Illawarra again. Yeah, it was a bit of a weird transition, but it's nice to be back home. I mean, you know what it's like. Never really wanted to leave this place in the first place, but for other circumstances, other reasons, just kind of had to do what I had to do at the time, and I'm just glad I've got an opportunity to be back here playing at home and still all the same faces in the crowd and everywhere I go. Not much has changed, although the club's just probably a lot more professional than it was. So I'm really enjoying my time here, and I'm loving being back, that's for sure. That's good, man. That's good. I'm personally very happy to see you back in a Hawks uniform, man. And that the club's in better stead now because, look, when we both left last time, it wasn't in a great place. But, yeah, that's putting it nicely for the podcast. No, look, man. You're really enjoying being back there. I mean, it's basically home for you guys now with you and your little crew. Yeah, I guess it is. It's probably nice. I mean, it was one of those things where, like, and every athlete, I mean, everyone really in life, and that's probably the biggest thing that I've found throughout my career and just in general is it doesn't really matter where you are. Come to these crossroads, whether it's, you know, it is whatever you're doing, whether it's school you want to go to, when you're deciding to go to college, whether it's the team you want to play for, wherever it is, you get to a crossroad, and the decision is never easy because, you know, you kind of ingrain yourself into a place and put yourself in a position where it's generally good for everyone. You form relationships that are hard to walk away from, and you know, at the time with Illawarra, I never wanted to leave. You know, the first time ever felt like I belonged somewhere. They'd given me the captaincy of the club. You know, I was around great teammates. We kind of started to form a culture that I felt like was really strong, and everyone, we were bringing good people into it. I don't think we really had a dickhead here. Sorry to swear on the podcast, but very good. I don't really feel like we had any idiots that came into our program. It was more probably an ownership group that, you know, wanted to be more involved than they probably should have been. And although they're pumping money into it, at the end of the day, they're employing people to take care of their business, and that's not what happened. And, you know, I had to make a decision for my family, and for me, that wasn't what I wanted to do, but at the time was what I needed to do because it just felt like I wasn't going to go anywhere, or I would have ended up having a very early retirement 4 years ago. or being very unhappy. And it's not like I walked into an ideal situation in Adelaide, and we know how that played out. But here I am, still 3 years later down the track, and I'm back home, and I'm loving what the club has kind of built around Gorge and bringing Gorge back, and familiar faces with Campbell, and getting local kids like Lockie Dent, Harry Morris, and just having local guys come in and be in training every day with the NBL1 program that was pretty decent this year here as well. So it's cool to be back. Aussie's running the IBA, so to see him every day and see Tyson there most days, familiar faces make it very welcoming and warm. And I've got my boys at home, and we're not on the other side of the country. To Illawarra wasn't exactly ideal, and then even when we made that work last year, things out of our control took the family away from me and made me move east and leave them in Perth. And border restrictions and stuff made that tough. But to be home with them, I would very happily give up my job to spend time with my family any day of the week, and that would be regardless of what I was making wherever I was. Because, as you know, when you've got a little one that looks up to you and idolises you, that becomes your world, and your priorities start to change. And that's certainly what's happened to me in the last few years. But I'm also very grateful for the opportunity I've got, again, to play with the Hawks.
Yeah, man. And that's certainly something that I felt when I was playing with the Hawks as well. Even though it wasn't as, I guess, homely as it feels now, just the Illawarra in general was always such a welcoming community, and everyone around just made you feel like family. And when Laura and I came over for your guys' wedding, we were able to get to a game down the Gong when they played Sydney in that semi, and
they treated you like royalty too, Cody.
They did, actually. It was a bit of a shock. Old Tim Fairs in there, making me feel like $1 million. So no, it was really cool, and
that's a part of it, right? Like,
exactly.
You remove it's not an easy thing to do. You remove one or two people that, and I do get, and I understand that money has to come from somewhere. There has to be a buy-in of individuals who invest into something that, for years never really made any money for a lot of people. It was more of a hobby, investing in a hobby for a lot of people. And, when you start to lose some of the amounts of money that we're talking about for owners and individuals, it's not easy to just sit on your hands and try and trust the people that you've employed to do their jobs. But at the end of the day, that is why you've employed them. And if you don't trust them to do their jobs, then it's slowly going to whittle away, because now they're questioning why they're there and what they're doing, because they believe that you don't trust them. And when that happens and you start to lose that trust and loyalty and respect, the foundations of anything will start to fall away. And, coming back here, Timmy Fairs is still in the office, so I see him every day. First one that congratulated me early in the week on my 300th. And it's just nice to see him still chipping away in the office and knowing that there's good people around that, my sponsors want to jump back on board. The local league wants to come back and sponsor me again. That's awesome. But it's, last week going back to Perth, I didn't really know what to expect, but got a warm welcoming from everyone there. And, when you're a good person, you get treated right, good things come to you, and good people stick around in your lives. And that's what you got when you came back to Illawarra last year.
Yeah, man. And, it's something that I'd been away for 4-ish years at that point, and then walking back in and all the emotions just rushed back in all of a sudden. And, I definitely miss the Illawarra and miss being around the club and stuff like that. But, obviously professional sports is professional sports, and it ends up being a business, and that's kind of what happens. So, look, man, I'm so happy that you're back there, that you're comfortable, that you're back with your family, that you're getting treated the way you deserve to be treated, which is a big thing for me. And like you said, good people deserve to be treated well, and you're top of that list, mate. So I'm so happy for you and Sam, and to reach 300, man, that's huge. That's as someone that I was lucky enough to play my entire career in the NBL with you and alongside you, and just to see where we started at Sydney and then where you've gone to and all the steps you've taken. And like you said, probably not the path that you saw yourself taking, but to be thrust into a couple different teams and be put in that leadership group in every team that you're part of, I think speaks volumes to you as not just a basketball player, but your character, man. And yeah, look, like I said, man, I'm so happy for you.
Thanks, mate. Appreciate it. Yeah, it's been a journey, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I didn't you grow up idolising, and I grew up idolising the Kings, wanting to play for them, wanting to be a part of it, and got that opportunity. And then the opportunity came up to play with Bevo, and obviously our time in Sydney had run its course, and so for both of us to then relocate to Illawarra was cool. Be under Bevo, play for Bevo, and we had some. I've been asked a few times what the most special moments I've had were, and the majority of them are with those Illawarra groups that we had early on, playing free-flowing basketball where we could just run and have some fun and just try and outscore everyone.
Yeah, exactly. We certainly gave it a good crack every night, didn't we?
I still tell that story. Like Bevo would be like, "Oh, who cares if we press and they score in 4 seconds? Because it means we get the ball back and we're inbounding it within 5, and then we get to it again." And it's like, what game are you playing here, Bevo? I'm like, I grew up playing defense pretty much my whole career, trying to defend.
Exactly.
Like, what do you mean you don't care if my man gets a running start at our big?
I know.
But it was fun, and I just one of those things where you don't really think that you're going to tick off all those milestones, and then it kind of happens, and I'm 35 and 300 games and 2 kids, and the Illawarra's home. I never thought that. Growing up, I would have told you the Illawarra would be the last place on the idolising the Kings. And then probably playing at Illawarra, I would have told you that Adelaide would be the last place I'd go play because of the battles we had, and I ended up there. And then you play for Adelaide, and Adelaide and Perth don't like each other. They hate each other. And I go to Perth, and now I'm back at Illawarra. And everyone in Illawarra hates Perth because that's who's knocked them out of the last 8 of the last 9 final series. They've knocked them out. And 1 grand final. It's pretty crazy how it all works, but reflecting on what's happened and where I've been, the one thing I keep coming back to is the relationships and the networking that you get to do and the people you get to meet. Like, I just think that's the most special thing, to have you and Lauren come over and visit for my wedding. And, a few boys couldn't show up because of commitments to basketball, but, I think the networking and the friendships, relationships that you build, off the court, and the people you get to meet and the places this game takes you is just the number one thing that I appreciate the most about the sport. And just grateful for every opportunity I get to play basketball, that's for sure. There's a lot of people that don't really get that opportunity and deserve the opportunity and probably should be still playing, but never really found the right fit for them, which sucks because, there's a lot of great players and great people out there that deserve to be playing this game.
Obviously, I don't have the same relationship with you as you do with Cody because we're never teammates, but I've known you for a long time as well, Kev, and I still remember the first time we ever chatted, and you talked through about how you grew up idolising the Kings and how hurt you were by the fact that people at the Kings told you that you would never make it as an NBL player, and you've always had that chip on your shoulder, and I'm just so happy for you now and it's all through your hard work and desire to get there. You've had nothing handed to you, but I'm just so happy for you that you've got to 300 games now. You've been captain at 2 of the clubs you've been at. You've been such a key player on every team that you've been at. I just think that the 300 game milestone sits really nicely next to your name. I'm happy that you've got that chance to continue playing because I think you've got a lot more still to offer. I mean, you've had to prove people wrong your whole career. I mean, you deserve to be really proud. I know you'll be humble about it and probably not like talking about yourself too much, but I just hope that you're really proud of everything that you've been able to achieve.
No, I appreciate it. I think it'll be something that I sit down and, like, it's kind of like, after the grand final series with people, I walked away from that, and even my wife said to me, she's like, "Oh, shit, didn't realise you could still play basketball. And like in the grand final, in the middle of the grand final series, and I like kind of looked at her. I was like, "Look at you too." I'm like, Jesus, my wife doesn't believe in me. Like, far out. But I think everyone along the way, like you talk, I've had plenty of teammates that have been told they could never do anything or do something. Like I think you talk to most guys, and there's someone along the way that hasn't believed in them. And it's just kind of the nature of the beast. And I've just appreciated everyone that's helped me along the way as well. And the older you get, the more you probably realise the people that have helped you out and have been there in your corner and had your back the whole time. And I've tried to do that to the best of my ability my whole career, but I don't think it's something that I'll really embrace or kind of look at until I'm done playing. Like it's nice to play 300 games, but it's just another basketball game at the end of the day. And, it'll be cool to one day sit down and talk to my boys about it and hopefully have a beer and watch them play some type of professional sport, whatever it is, or, even if they don't play professional sport, whatever they choose to do, to sit down and kind of, challenge them in a way that my parents challenged me, because that's kind of where it stems from and comes from with my mum and dad. And, even the challenges I had with my dad passing away when I was here in Illawarra, the team was still, like the group of guys I had around me at that time were probably my closest mates that I still have today. So, I just appreciate those relationships, those people that were in my corner, and they're probably, when you get those relationships and friendships, they're the ones that drive you to do what probably I do. Because there's always going to be people telling you can't do stuff. I mean, I find my kids telling my kids, no, don't do this, no, don't do that, like constantly. That's so you're driven to tell them no, you know what I mean? So, but the way mum and dad kind of raised me and drove me was more in a sense of, just continue to put one foot in front of the other and keep your head high and, trust and treat people the way that you would want to be treated. And I hope I've done that in my career.
No, I think you absolutely have. And I know you'll treat Saturday night like it is just another game, but it's amazing how these things work out. And your milestone game happens to be back in Adelaide. I'll never forget that day when it all sort of happened in Adelaide and everything kind of hit the fan. And I think I was one of the first people that you spoke to, and we had a chat on the phone about. And I remember you asking, look, did I do the right thing? And and I told you, of course you did, because you're standing up for what you believe in and you're trying to do the right thing. I mean, what are you expecting on Saturday night back in Adelaide? I mean, it's just amazing how these things work out, that's where your milestone game will happen to be.
Well, I really haven't thought about it. It's been like, even to come to Perth and play 299 I didn't find out till Thursday night that I was travelling on Friday, and then...
Well, I guess first of all, we have to hope that Jacob actually put you on the court now on Saturday.
Yeah, exactly. But I guess we'll just see. But yeah, I've been back to Adelaide, 4 or 5 times now with Perth. There's going to be people who did, and there's some people in Adelaide that do agree with what I did. And like I said, there'll come a time where I do reach out to Joey and speak to Joey eventually when I think the time's right. Because I think probably the way I handled it was the wrong way to go about it. Now I look back on it, but at the same time, I was standing up for some people who, the way I saw it, was standing up for people who didn't have a voice in our group, and I didn't agree with some of the things that were done and said, and the way it kind of unfolded just didn't sit right with me. And when people from around the league were calling me about it and asking what was going on, that's when I realised the alarm bells kind of started ringing for me that it wasn't okay what was happening. And, it is what it is, but there'll come a time eventually Joey wants to take the phone call that I'll sit down, I'll chat to him about it and apologise and when the time's right. But, I've been back to Adelaide a couple of times and the crowd, some people in the crowd give it to me, some people still say hello and boo when I catch the ball, but then he'll shake my hand and want to take me for a beer after, and that's just the way it is in professional sport. Had Devlin sitting behind the bench feeding us the other night at Perth, and he'd be the first one to invite all of us to the cigar lounge. Yeah. So, it's a beautiful thing, sport, and there's beautiful people that surround it. So, I guess we'll just wait and see what happens Saturday.
We better let Kev go because he's got his family to look after. Speaking about your two boys
Yep.
and your wife, Kev, I mean, how special is it to be back home in Wollongong with them now? And they're actually getting to an age now where they can actually appreciate seeing you out on a basketball court.
Yeah. I've just got one of them running out of the house. He's about to run on the road, so I'm going to pull him into the car right now. Yeah, it's pretty cool. And that's coming in, mate. Hello. That's probably the pretty cool thing is, and one of the reasons what I love about Perth and what they did for me last year, the tipping point for me to come home last year in the middle of the season, not many people know, was Quinn was sitting at our front door one day when I told him I was getting on a plane, asking Mummy when Daddy was coming home, and it was we still had 15 games left in the season. So for me, that moment to me was where I just kind of had to sit down and say, is it worth it when my boys are at home wanting me to be home and missing their dad and not having me around was kind of the tipping point. And Scott Morrison, Danny Mills, all the SEN ownership, they were amazing in saying, look, why don't you just go home for 2 weeks, shorten the length of time that you're going to be away, because we still had to return and play 9 games with quarantine and all of that. And, you know, they were amazing in letting me get home. And now I play a basketball game and I get photos of them wearing jerseys from the clubs that I've acquired, and they're cheering me on. And what do we say for Daddy, Quinn, when he's in the car? What do you say for Daddy when he plays basketball? Daddy. And they cheer me on just like that. So, you know, it's pretty cool that they understand what's going on. Cody would know that feeling, having Chase run around. You know, I've been over and watched a few games, and he's over on the sideline with Lauren cheering him on. And to have them in my corner is the number one support that I have and I love. And that's why I do what I do now, and will continue to do what I need to do, support them and give them the best platform that they need to do whatever they want to do in this world.
For sure. And that's certainly something special for you, and something that hopefully that they'll look back on one day and remember. Especially, I know I did it with Chase a couple of times, bringing him down and walking around and high-fiving everyone after games. And just being in and around the group as well. With them, I'm sure they're running around as they do. So yeah, I mean, certainly for me, looking back when I was able to do that with Dad and the Cats, that's pretty cool memories to be looking back on. So hopefully they can remember that and hold it near and dear.
Yeah, for sure. I still remember when I first met Chase and Lauren out the back of the entertainment centre in Sydney when they first moved over. He was just a tiny little thing in a capsule.
He certainly was, with a giant head.
Weren't they the days?
They were, mate. They were. It feels like forever ago.
It does.
Well,
what is it?
He's a big boy now. He's a big boy now, Cody. And he actually holds his own out on the basketball court himself now too.
He is, mate. He's starting to tear around a bit on the basketball court. He's hasn't seen a shot he doesn't like. Every time he touches it, you know it's going up. So, you know, he must be watching me too much.
Yeah, get that from Lauren, right?
Yeah, exactly, man, exactly.
All right, Kev, we better let you go, but really appreciate you taking the time to catch up with us, especially in a big week, and I hope everything goes well on Saturday night for you, and more importantly, I'm just so glad that you're in a good place with your family, and good to see you back out on the basketball court. So thanks for joining us, and we'll try to stay in touch throughout the season.
Sounds good, guys. I appreciate you having me on. Yeah, I mean, love to be back on. Love to help out where I can, but more importantly, just enjoy the chat. It's always nice to catch up, and I guess we'll see what happens this year and where we go. But thank you very much. I appreciate the support you guys give me and my family. So thank you.